The year was 1863, and the air in Missouri carried the acrid smell of war. Deep in the Ozark Mountains, far from the chaos, Hollow Creek Tavern loomed like a relic of a forgotten era. Its wooden sign swayed in the wind, creaking ominously. Hollow Creek Tavern, rest, eat, and sleep forever? Elias Turner, a young soldier exhausted from marching through war-torn lands, approached cautiously. Every instinct screamed to turn back, but hunger and fatigue compelled him forward. The tavern's windows flickered with candlelight, casting ghostly shadows over the surrounding forest. Inside, the warm glow seemed inviting, yet a cold chill ran down his spine. He pushed the door open, the hinges groaning, and stepped into a place that would test his very soul. Little did he know, Hollow Creek was more than an inn. It was a mirror of the human heart. The tavern smelled of aged wood, candle wax, and a faint, almost unnoticeable metallic tang. The innkeeper, Gideon Crow, was a tall, gaunt man with piercing eyes and a smile that didn't quite reach his face. "Welcome, traveler," he said, his voice soft but heavy. "We have a room for you." Elias noticed the other guests, a young woman stitching by the fire, a merchant polishing silver, and a child staring silently into the shadows. Something about their stillness unsettled him. They were alive, yet not alive. Despite the unease, exhaustion outweighed caution. Elias followed Gideon down a dim hallway, the flickering candlelight casting elongated shapes on the walls. He didn't yet realize that stepping into Hollow Creek was stepping into a labyrinth of fears, regrets, and truths he had long buried. As Elias tried to settle into his small room, a shadow moved at the door. A young woman with haunting eyes appeared. "I'm Maribel," she whispered, her voice trembling like wind through leaves. "If you're here, you need to know. You can never leave unless you uncover the truth of this place." Before he could question her, she vanished as if she had never been there. Elias rubbed his eyes and looked around. There was no one in the room. His heart pounded, but the room was still. Was she real, or a vision brought on by fatigue? Deep inside, he felt a spark of both dread and curiosity. The tavern had begun to show its first signs. It was alive in ways he couldn't yet comprehend. Dinner was served in the grand, shadowy dining room, steaming stew, thick bread, and sweet tea. Elias noticed that the guests ate silently, their faces pale and unreadable, almost waxen. No one spoke a word, their eyes distant, focused on something beyond the present. During a moment alone, Maribel appeared at his side. "The tavern feeds on more than hunger," she whispered. "It feeds on despair, regrets, and the parts of yourself you refuse to face." Elias felt a shiver crawl up his spine. He looked at the other diners, wondering if they knew this truth, or if they were trapped in it. That night, he would find out that the tavern's food nourished more than bodies. It was sustenance for the souls it tested. That night, Elias drifted into a restless sleep. He dreamt of Hollow Creek itself, a dark river winding through twisted trees, its waters black as ink. Faces emerged from the ripples, pleading silently, their eyes full of sorrow and fear. The whispers became voices, each one recounting regrets, missed chances, and broken promises. When he awoke, sweat soaked his shirt, and the walls of the tavern seemed to pulse. Every hallway twisted upon itself. Every door led him back to the same dim corridor. Fear gripped him. He could no longer be sure if he was dreaming or awake. The tavern was revealing itself not just as a place, but as a reflection of his own inner turmoil. In the corner of his room, Elias noticed a leather-bound journal, its cover worn and cracked. He opened it, discovering pages filled with stories of past guests. Each one had entered Hollow Creek, only to vanish without a trace. One passage chilled him to the bone. I came seeking shelter, but now I am part of Hollow Creek. It knows my fears, my regrets, my sins. There is no escape until I face what I cannot forgive. Elias understood. This tavern did not merely trap travelers. It reflected the deepest shadows of their souls. He held the journal tightly, realizing that survival meant confronting truths he had long avoided. The next morning, Elias sought Gideon. "Why won't anyone leave? What is this place?" he demanded. Gideon's eyes softened with sorrow. "This tavern chooses its guests. Only those willing to face themselves may depart. Most cannot." He handed Elias a silver key, its surface etched with cryptic symbols. "Your path will be revealed tonight. Choose wisely." Elias felt a mixture of fear and hope. The key was not just to a door, it was a key to his own heart. Every shadow in Hollow Creek was a reflection of him, and only courage could unlock the way out. At midnight, Maribel returned, her presence quiet yet urgent. She guided Elias to the cellar, a place dimly lit with candles. Faded portraits of former guests lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow every movement. "These are the faces of those who couldn't reconcile their regrets," Maribel explained. "Hollow Creek doesn't trap you. It reflects what you fear most. Only by confronting it can you leave." Elias's stomach churned. He realized the horror of the tavern wasn't just physical, it was spiritual, psychological. Every guest's anguish lingered in the air, pressing against him. Hollow Creek demanded introspection, and there was no turning back. Maribel led him to a hidden room, its walls entirely covered with mirrors. Elias gazed into them and recoiled. He wasn't seeing his reflection. He was seeing every fear he had buried, every life lost, every failure, every regret. "You see your soul," Maribel said softly. "This tavern mirrors your truth. Confront it, or it will consume you." Elias's knees shook. He stared into the mirrors until tears fell freely. Every shadow, every echo of guilt, stared back at him. For the first time, he understood. The tavern was not evil. It was a test of honesty and courage. Elias remembered the young boy he had failed to save in battle, the widows whose pleas he ignored, and the countless mistakes he had tried to forget. His chest tightened with sorrow. "I cannot forgive myself," he whispered. Maribel placed her hand over his heart. "Forgiveness begins within. Recognize both your failures and your bravery. Hollow Creek feeds on shame, but it cannot touch love, truth, or courage." For the first time, Elias felt a spark of relief. To leave the tavern, he would have to accept both his shadows and his light. Light seemed to seep into the walls of Hollow Creek. Elias felt warmth spreading through his chest. He recalled acts of kindness, bravery, and moments of joy. The tavern trembled, as if resisting his awakening. Maribel whispered, "The moment you accept your whole self, the tavern begins to release you." Elias felt hope for the first time since arriving. The shadows on the walls no longer threatened him. They were mirrors to guide him toward his redemption. Elias returned to the common room, where other guests remained frozen. He spoke to each one with compassion instead of fear. Slowly, their pallor lifted, and their eyes began to shine. The tavern was not a prison. It was a crucible. By confronting despair and offering empathy, he helped others rediscover hope. Hollow Creek was alive, but not malevolent. It challenged the spirit, and through that challenge, it taught transformation. Gideon shared his story. He too had been trapped once, consumed by despair. Only through guidance and self-reflection had he found a way to leave. Now he guided others. "The tavern chooses the weary," he said, "but it also shows them the light they cannot see themselves." Elias realized that Hollow Creek was a teacher, not a captor. Its terror was a mirror to ignite courage and empathy. That night, Elias faced a final vision. The tavern engulfed in flames, screams echoing through the corridors. He could flee, paralyzed by fear, or stay and calm the voices. He stayed. Whispering apologies, he soothed the tormented echoes. Slowly, the fire subsided. A golden door appeared at the end of the hallway, glowing with warmth and promise. Elias understood. Bravery and compassion could conquer even the darkest trials. Maribel appeared, smiling gently. "You are ready," she said. "Remember, Hollow Creek exists to reveal truths. Carry its lessons into the world." Elias embraced her. In that moment, he felt gratitude and understanding. The tavern had tested him, but now he was free, not just from Hollow Creek, but from the weight of his own fears. Elias stepped through the golden door into the fresh air of the Ozark Mountains. The tavern behind him shimmered in the morning light, ordinary and unassuming. He realized the lesson. Hollow Creek existed in life itself, any place where fear, regret, and reflection intersected. Second chances were possible for those brave enough to confront themselves. Elias returned to the nearby town, sharing tales of courage, compassion, and forgiveness. His words inspired others, encouraging them to face their regrets rather than hide from them. Though he never revealed the tavern directly, its lessons shaped his voice. People felt a spark of hope, a quiet reminder that darkness could be transformed through introspection and empathy. Elias often dreamed of the other guests, now free, smiling in sunlit fields, laughing without fear. Hollow Creek had not only tested him, but them all. It was not a curse, but a teacher. A place hidden in shadows, it waited for those brave enough to confront themselves, showing that courage could unlock the chains of regret. Years later, Elias became a mentor in his community, guiding those struggling with loss, grief, and guilt. He never forgot Hollow Creek, its mirrors, and the lessons that saved him. He often told children, "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is facing what frightens you and choosing love over despair." His life became a living testament to the tavern's teachings. Long after Elias passed, Hollow Creek Tavern endured in whispers and stories. Travelers spoke of a place where guests checked in, but those brave enough to confront their souls could leave renewed. The tavern remained a sanctuary of self-discovery, compassion, and redemption. Its lesson was simple yet profound. Our darkest moments could illuminate our brightest truths, if only we dared to face them.